Hello all you wonderful, beautiful, and craptastic people. CraptasticJack here. Today we're going to be talking about police in Need for Speed 2019. Now, the other day, if you just remembered, it was revealed that the next Need for Speed game is going to have a heavy emphasis on the police versus racer atmosphere that we saw in games like Need for Speed Rivals. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be like a hot pursuit game, but I don't think so. I have a feeling it's going to be more so like a most wanted game. I feel like that's what we're going to be getting with the next Need for Speed. And as Ben said on Reddit that we were getting like a 2015-esque game and added that with what we just learned the other day about the cops versus racer theme, I have a feeling that it's going to be a more so mesh of Most Wanted and Underground kind of put all together. That's what I'm kind of hoping it is, and that's what I think it will be. But today we're going to be talking about the police in Need for Speed 2019 because the cops in the last two games were not that good. They were not that good at all. So I wrote an essay. Not in proper MLA format this time, but like I wrote an essay and I put it on the Need for Speed subreddit. I got over 100 upvotes. I'll leave a link to that down below in the description if you just want to read that. But I'm going to be taking a lot of what I'm saying from this. I'm pretty much going to be reading it, but after that we're going to be taking a look at what you guys in the community section are saying, what you guys feel, and what you guys want to see out of the police system in Need for Speed 2019. So without further interruptions, let us begin. With Need for Speed 2019 on the horizon, I think it is a good idea to talk about the police in 2019, especially now, right before release, instead of later down the line. Many will remember the events of September 2017, where it was uncovered that the police would not be making a return in the free roam form, like most were expecting and most were hoping. Instead, police were delegated to certain side missions and bait crates. Probably due to time constraints, as when you poke around the in-game files, there is evidence that suggests that the police were supposed to have a bigger impact than what they actually did in the game. Looking back at that fiasco and how the game ended up turning out, I think it's safe to say that a somewhat big reason for the game being poorly received was due to the police only being available in missions and being scripted. This is not the entire reason why, but it is a major factor. One of the best feelings you can achieve in a Need for Speed game is relief. That sense of relief you feel once you've escaped the cops after a long and anxious police pursuit with the entire city's police force on your ass. After Need for Speed 2015's police failed to encapsulate that feeling, Ghost went for a different approach. The police in Payback were indeed much more challenging and much more aggressive, but that thrill of the chase was gone the moment you realized that everything in the chases are scripted, especially in missions. Where all the roadblocks spawn, where all the rhinos spawn in, where the cops lose you, etc. All that stuff is scripted. There is nothing organic about the chases in Need for Speed Payback. Because of this, after the second or third playthrough of a chase, the chases become boring. There was no strategy behind chases. There was no split-second decisions that you've had to make. And after a while, no challenge. Payback, just like 2015, had failed to give us the police system that lives up to the name Need for Speed. However, I'm the type of guy who believes that good can come out of bad, and thankfully there are some lessons to be learned from Payback. Number 1. The police must be in free roam. This is the main takeaway. Police should roam the streets in free roam and give us organic car chases, where every chase is just a little bit different from the last. The world should always also be rife with hidden alleyways, parking lots, hidden driveways, parking garages, and little nooks and crannies that allow you to hide and effectively lose the cops. Differently and organically, as opposed to crossing a finish line and the police just giving up. Another great addition to this would be to see the return of pursuit breakers. Pursuit breakers would allow for more options to help escape your pursuers. Police in the free roam would also make the world feel more alive. Even though you see less traffic on the roads and it's always nighttime, Ventura Bay felt more alive to me than Fortune Valley. The world reacted to what you were doing in the form of police patrolling the streets. Silver Rock and Fortune Valley just feel dead. You are free to commit traffic crimes at your heart's content. Just don't touch those randomly placed shipping crates on the side of the road. The world does not react to what you are doing, thus making free roaming not as enjoyable and honestly just a chore at times. Number 2. The police must have heat levels. I believe that heat levels are the best way to achieve the best chases. However, a neat idea for that Need for Speed 2015 brought to the table is the ability to pay a traffic fine if you pulled over at first. With this in mind, a good way to implement this feature into Need for Speed 2019's heat levels would allow you to pull over when your car's in heat level 1, or even have like a heat level 0 or something. However, once the chase escalates to heat level 2, then the gloves come off and you are now risking going to jail if you get busted. No holds barred. And when it comes to heat levels, I want to see progressively more aggressive and progressively faster cop cars. Need for Speed Payback kind of had this with what your car tier was. So if you had like a lower tier car, Crown Vics would come after you. If a medium tier car, chargers come after you, and that's when you start getting the kill switch cops. And then when you're like at the max level driving supercars and hypercars, you'd have Corvette cop cars come after you. I want to see something like that, but like in the most wanted and like carbon style. Heat levels 1 and 2, you have Crown Vics. 3 and 4, you have Dodge Chargers. 5 and 6 and beyond, I'd like to see like heat level 10s and all that. But like 6 and 7 have Corvettes, and hell, go beyond. Like I said, have hypercars come after you, like heat level 9, 10, 11, 12, like that type of stuff. That's something I liked about Need for Speed Rivals, was that you could go up to like heat level 10, and that was really cool. Now here's a little discussion point that I'd like to see in the comments, and because this is something I'm not too sure about. Heat levels, should they reset after every chase, or should they continually progressively go up after every pursuit? In Need for Speed Most Wanted and Carbon, your heat level would stay the same. After you escaped like a heat level 4 pursuit, your heat level was then at heat level 4, so heat level 4 cops will patrol the streets. However, in games like Most Wanted 2012 and Need for Speed 2015, your heat level resets after every pursuit. So if you got into a heat level 5 pursuit, your heat level is back down to 1 once you escape. I personally would like to see the heat level stay after you've gotten out of a chase at like the heat level that you left that chase in, as opposed to having it reset. But I can see an argument for both ways. So if you guys have an opinion on this, be sure to leave it down in the comment section down below. Up next, we should have Impoundment. I believe that if you get busted 3 times with the same car, your car should get impounded and you have to pay an extra fine to get it back. Or you risk it getting destroyed and having to rebuild it all over again. Or an interesting alternative, however, would be to be able to steal the car from the impound lot and shake the cops to be able to keep your car without paying the extra fine. A little mini game that they could throw in there. I'm kind of thinking of GTA Online. After your car gets impounded, after you die from getting in a shootout with the cops, your car gets impounded, it gets destroyed, and you have to pay more money than if you don't buy it out or steal it. I'm kind of thinking that way, but I feel like the option should be there. That's something cool that they could bring into Need for Speed 2019. Next up, helicopters. There was a helicopter in Need for Speed Payback, but what was really stupid and dumb was how it was on the cover of the game, but the helicopter only appears for 1 mission. The helicopter in Need for Speed 2019 should be called in around heat level 4 or 5. The helicopter should also work similar to Need for Speed Most Wanted. However, to switch things up, I think it would be cool to see the helicopter attempt to stop you as well, such as going really low into the roads or dropping spike strips hot pursuit style, or even by committing a few UN war crime violations and dropping bombs on you at max heat level, akin to Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. That would be fucking sick, and I would love to see that. Up next is going to be a very controversial point, but weapons. Now, before you dislike this video, the police should be well equipped to take you down. I'm talking roadblocks, spike strips, EMPs, etc. I would like to see this kill switch return in 2019, but with improvements that allow you to shake them more effectively. The only weapons, however, that the player should have are their car and their police scanner, and if they decide to put this into the game, a few pursuit breakers as well. Those are the only weapons. I don't want to see any EMPs on the racer side. I don't want to see any shockwaves, pursuit tech bullshit. The only weapons that the racer should have are his car, the radio, and pursuit breakers. That's it. And now my next point, getting busted. When you get arrested in Need for Speed 2019, there should be some sort of punishment. Like I stated earlier, your car should be impounded if you are a repeat offender. One thing Payback got wrong was what happened when you got busted. There was no setback. No punishment. For a game where the cops are supposed to be dirty and owned by the house, nothing happens to you. Your character would just mutter something along the lines of, "Dang, they caught me," and then all your pursuers would just despawn. When you get busted in Need for Speed 2019, it should show your character getting dragged out of the car in arrested cop style. Like, take, for example, the busted cutscenes in Need for Speed Undercover. Those were fucking brutal, and they were so fucking fun to watch. Like, add something like that into the game. That would be sick. Then, along with that, slap the player with a big-ass fine. Make getting busted a threat. Since the game is, that we've confirmed now, is racers versus cop style, make getting busted a threat. Make it a real setback. Give us a reason to escape. There would be times in Need for Speed 2015 where I would just pull over and just, like, whatever, you know? Like, it wasn't a big deal. If I had to, like, go, since that game was, like, always online, you couldn't pause the game, I would be in a police pursuit, I have to get up, answer the phone, I would just pull over, get arrested, pay like what, $3,000, and I'd be back on my way. There was no real setback. We need a real setback in this game, as long as we can you know, pause the game, which we should be able to. Payback gave us a good sense on what police in a Need for Speed game should not be. Now, with that in mind, I hope Ghost Games has a good idea of what makes a good police pursuit system and what does not, and uses their past 2 games as a guideline to making right decisions and giving us the best police pursuits in a Need for Speed game yet. However, I am not the only person who believes that Need for Speed Payback's pursuit system was not good. A lot of you guys disliked it as well, and a lot of you guys shared your opinions on what the next Need for Speed game's police should be. And to kick things off, we are going to start with T.O. Boggs' comment. There should be police almost everywhere in free roam. There should be police cars cruising around and in races, at least in the majority of them. There should be some police there to make the race more interesting. Oh, and the police should be harder, not like in 2015. This is something I wholeheartedly agree with. One thing I did not like about Payback was that cops never came after you during races. The races never really felt illegal enough. I mean, sure, there were some races where cops were scripted to chase after AI who weren't part of the race. But other than that, it never happens. And one thing I did like about 2015 is the cops would come after you during during races. However, they would never catch up. The AI would just overtake him, and he just falls to the back, and then you've escaped. You could get into like you could activate several police pursuits in like one race, because the cops would just not catch up. So, and one thing I liked about Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012 is a lot of the races cops would come after you, and they would actually keep up and like provide an interesting factor to your race. And that's something I really want to see. And with police being almost everywhere, another thing I really didn't like about 2015 was that there were parts of the map where the cops would never like spawn. They would never go, and there were parts of the map where only a few would spawn. I remember my first police pursuit in Need for Speed 2015. I was trying to figure out why there was only one cop chasing me for last 10 minutes before I realized I was in an area that not many cops spawned in. If you wanted to get all like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 on you, you'd have to go to the other side of the map. I'd rather see them patrol everywhere. Anywhere you can go, you should be able to get into a cop chase. And here's a little interesting thing I just thought of. I remember in the PS2 copy of Need for Speed Undercover, there was a button that just summoned the police. Like, you could call 911 and the cop would come towards you. Something like that would be cool, so we can get into a cop chase whenever we want, wherever we want. That would be sick. T-Money1198 says heat levels like Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. Also, they have to get progressively more difficult. Like, start off with 4 Tauruses, then Explorers, then Chargers, and eventually Corvettes or high-speed cars. Also have spike strips but no inflating tires. Make sure you have to get to a gas station to repair, and please be in free roam. The no inflating tires part I really like. Being spiked should again be a punishment. In 2015, I remember if you got spiked in 2015 before they added the gas station update, you were pretty much done. I mean, even then you had to drag your ass while being chased by the cops while spiked to a gas station. That's a real punishment. In Payback, you get spiked. Oh no, my tires are done. Oh, never mind, they reinflated. Like, no. It works more so in a game like Hot Pursuit or Rivals that's like linear. You're on a path, and like spike strips are used as like more like a weapon than like an actual like you hit it, you lose situation. However, in a game that's open world, and a game that like 2015 that Ben said is gonna be like 2015, your cars should not be inflated. In a game like Payback, your tires should not be reinflated like that. Jack Dren says they should basically bring back the police system from older games like Most Wanted and Carbon, with heat level, spike strips, roadblocks, and helicopters. Also, none of that weapons bullshit like Rivals and Hot Pursuit 2010, and no health bar. Yeah, I can see the no health bar part coming in as well. However, even then, I can kind of see a health bar coming back, not necessarily in the same form as like Rivals, but more so I'd like to see health bars for the cop cars, so you can be able to take them out again. That's something I liked about like Payback's cops. You could actually take out cops. That's something I want to see return in Need for Speed 2019. The weapons thing, again, in my opinion, and this person's opinion as well, the only weapons that the racer should have are the radio, his car, and hopefully pursuit breakers. Hopefully, I hope we get them. Daddy Rock 18 and C4 No Scoper 87. Daddy Rock says just bring Rivals cops, except they won't come after you for no reason. That's something that always happened in Rivals. You be at heat level 1, cop sees you, comes after you. Like you wouldn't be doing anything, they just come after you. C4 No Scoper 87 says something similar to Rivals as well. That's why I lumped these two comments together. Being chased by Lambos instead of Fords made the chases way more intense, and that's what I'm saying. Like past heat level like 5 or 6, when you're getting the Corvette cop cars, after that, it'd be cool to see the return of like the VRT from Need for Speed Rival. I'm going deep into the lore here, but see them return with like Lamborghini, Coinstead cop cars. That would be sick. Like heat level 8, 9, 10. I feel like that could work pretty well, even in a game like 2015. That's gonna be 2015, as like we know, from what Ben said on Reddit, or like a Most Wanted-esque game. That'd be interesting to see. Level 69 boss says the cops should be pretty hard. They should be able to drive at the same speed as you, but also be pretty easy to knock out at lower heat levels. At higher heat levels, they should be a helicopter. I agree with the thing, although. Like, I agree that it should get progressively harder and harder and harder and harder, but even then, with heat level 1, I don't want it to be super easy, like in 2015. Regarding all the way back to 2015 now, but like 2015 was way too easy. As you got to heat level 4 and 5, which took some time baiting the cops, it did get pretty fun at times, but even then they were still pretty easy to escape. So I'm hoping that even heat level 1, like Crown Vics, can kind of sort of keep up to you even if you're like a Bugatti. Like, it's not realistic, but like Need for Speed's not a realistic game. It's an arcade racing game. So even then, I'd like to see like Crown Vics and Ford Tauruses and Ford Escapes come up and like try and keep up, and they're able to keep up with you. Oz88OG says, in my opinion, they should be aggressive like Payback was, and free roam. With heat levels and cooldowns, each heat level will have different cops. Heat level 1, basic Crown Victoria. Heat level 2, undercover Crown Vic, and so on and so on. If they decide to put heat level 6 or higher, they can have SWAT teams come after you, and choppers with spike strips, roadblocks, and EMPs for cops. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The SWAT team rhinos can make a comeback. I know in like Most Wanted 2012, the Ford Escapes were used as rhinos. I'd like to see those return as rhino cops as well. I know there was a Ford Explorer cop car in the files for Need for Speed Payback that they never came after you. But also at like a higher heat levels, I would like to see the SWAT vans return it, like how they were in the roadblocks in Most Wanted 2012. SWAT vans would come after you, like they would chase you in Most Wanted 2012. Now that I remember, and it was like an honor to actually take one out. I think I did. Yeah, I did a video back in Most Wanted 2012 of me just trying to take out the SWAT van, and then in Payback, they're just used as rhino units. But I'd like to see them return as like fully fledged like units chasing after you, like they were in Most Wanted 2012. That would be sick, and then just add more carnage to make police pursuits, and that's what we want out of a police pursuit. James says, I would like police pursuits like Most Wanted 2005 to return in Need for Speed 2019. However, I would like two things to be different from that system. I would like to be able to pull over and pay a fine before a pursuit, as this means that they will be less annoying in free roam. I would also like it so not to collect a bounty on them. Since we can put custom liveries and custom parts on our cars, nothing would be worse than working on a livery for 10 hours, only have to change it after 1 hour of play. I would like to see the return of heat levels, roadblocks, spike strips, pursuit breakers, and cooldown spots. Now that's an interesting factor I never really thought of. A lot like through 2015 and Payback, a new kind of community has come out of the racing game Need for Speed community, and that's people who make wraps, designs, and all that. How would they be affected if, like, say they got into like a car chase and now they'd have to take that livery off that they just spent 3 hours making because they got into a pursuit, and now their car's wanted? That's something I never really thought of until I saw this comment, and that's why I do these comments, is to open up discussion. So that's something, again, I never really thought of, and that kind of would make it a better option. Since we have those livery like designers and everything, it probably would be a much better idea in that case to have the heat levels reset after every pursuit. However, again, I'm not too sure. There's probably a better workaround for that, but even then, that's another factor that Ghost and like us in general have to think of when we're asking for like heat levels and all that. But thank you for that, James. I never really thought of that. And finally, we have the Ignitionizer. I'd really like to see the chaotic hordes of cops from the Most Wanted 2005 days to come back. It makes you feel like you are the most wanted, with many cops coming at you from all different directions, having to dodge them, and there should be a reason to play risky with the cops rather than ignore them or play safe. Like in Most Wanted, where you had to complete challenges and your bounty was important to progress. That's something I kind of liked about Need for Speed 2015. They had a whole outlaw campaign that focused around getting away from the cops. Now again, the cops weren't that good, but still, if we saw something like that in Need for Speed 2019, that would be awesome. And since, again, they pretty much says the game's going to be cops versus racers, then I'd like to see the bounty system return in a way, to be able to like build up bounty, have to progress through getting in police pursuits. That's something I would definitely like to see. And the hordes of cops like coming after you from all different directions. That's the vibe I got from watching Need for Speed Paybacks Gamescom trailer when they were like in the construction yard. But of course, alas, that's not what happened. That event wasn't even in the fucking game. So again, I would love to see the hordes of cops return where like their cop chases are just, you're getting swamped with cops left, right, center. That's what I'd like to see for a pursuit system in Need for Speed 2019. And that's gonna be all the comments that I put in. There were a few more, but like they weren't as in detailed. So I apologize if I left yours out, but that's gonna be it. A bit of a long episode here, 22 minutes coming out of this recording, but I'll short it down a bit there. But that's gonna be all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more Need for Speed 2019 or just Need for Speed content in general, be sure to like this video, subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a good one, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see some more craptastic content, be sure to subscribe and hit the little bell icon so you don't ever miss an upload. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitch and join my Discord to be able to chat with me and some others. That's all for now, guys. Have a good one.